You are still watching Unleashing Your Potential with myself, Coach Toriso. And it's really heated here in the studio, right? I mean, we're talking about sex and dating as a teenager. And I'm a parent and I'm thinking, oh, where did we go wrong? Like, where did we go wrong? We're no longer living... Wow, the kids of today, they're way totally different, right? Like, for an example, when we were growing up, we were taught that when I speak to you, you don't look at me in my face, right? But right now, when you talk to them, it's more like you have to eye contact. I need to see you when we talk together. You can see there's a really age gap right there, or a different teachings totally. Are we losing our children as parents based on how we grew up? Is it wrong to still continue teaching our children the way we're taught? Is that right? Or we're literally losing them because of they are different? You know, as a parent, we go through this.
Yeah, you see, I think we need to appreciate that times are no longer the same.
Yes, true.
And even the way we parent need to evolve with time. Because some of the teachings that we teach our children, I'm not saying they are irrelevant, but the issue with those teaching is that they are competing with what the media is saying. And parents are using fear-based approach when they talk to their children. And that fear is no longer working because we have a new generation of teenagers who cannot live under fear like we did in our time. Because the question of where did we go wrong, I came up at the time where it was said it takes the whole community to raise a child. But we never asked a question to say, but what if the community is ruined? The same community that raised a child, what if this same community is ruined? Because these children, whatever that they do, it is not something that they are born with. It is not something genetic and biological. It is something that we teach them directly or indirectly. When we were growing, there were a lot of orders. We had order when we were growing up. And everywhere, the elders were orderly, the churches were orderly. But now, the things that used to keep us grounded and keep us to be safe as teenagers, they are no longer there. They are there in names, but not in functions, you see. Because now you will see elderly people who are supposed to protect these children being the first one to propose love to them, you see. And as parents, sometimes we are not there, not because we don't want to be there, but because the demand. We need to provide for these children. We need to work for these children. In our absence, there will be somebody who is going to fill that gap. So that is why it is important to, it cannot be a family thing only. It should be a community thing, whereby all parents take it upon themselves to say, we will be intentional about raising our children, because we cannot raise your teenagers by default. You must have an element of intentionality, and not you alone, because if you are the parents who is raising your child with intention, your teenagers is going to meet his peers who doesn't have parents who are intentional about raising them. But again, South Africa, we are not equal. Children who are from the rich families will not be the same with those from the poor families in the informal settlement. I once had a discussion with a teen who fell pregnant, and I was shocked. I think it was the first teen that I came across, because, you know, I'm from Limpopo originally, and then these things of teen pregnancy, at that time, it was not popular. So I was shocked to see a teenager pregnant, and she was not worried. And then I said to her, what happened? What led you into being pregnant? And she said to me, I'm staying in a shack. And then on weekend, my mom will say I must go and play with my friends because the boyfriend is coming in, you see. And the child will go. When the child comes back, the parents are still busy learning through observations. And remember that child is having a frontal lobe that is not yet developed,
Yeah.
and neuroscience says the brain of the child learns quicker and faster. The child will connect 1 and 2 and says, this is, let me go and test it. And then everywhere, sex seems to be celebrated.
Eish.
You see, you look at the way society conduct itself, and then you realize that sex is overrated.
How did we get here, Lebu? How did we get here?
Firstly, again, the times have changed. The times are not the same. Our kids have more access. There's more access. Everything is so accessible.
It's just here, actually.
Yeah, everything is just so accessible through our devices, through television. So the first place is access. Access, unfortunately, access leads us to greater places, but access access can also ruin us,
Yes,
depending
true.
on how ready we are for that access. Firstly, and secondly, I've found that even with me when I was growing up, when the parent of a child is more open with their child, the child is less prone to doing certain things.
Yeah.
But if you're that parent who's always hard on the child is curious.
Can't do why?
Kanti why angafuni nami? Yes, kanti why nami angafuni ukuthi ngiyobona? And it's always nice to do what we're not allowed to do.
Eish, you can say that again. The mind just switch over.
Even as adults,
Yes.
when you're not allowed
The
to do
things that I don't want to do,
Yes.
Yes.
I do. Right?
The things that you're not allowed to do. So that's why I'm speaking about being more open. You know, it helps so much. I cannot emphasize how just being open, because when you are also open with your child, you can guide them.
Yeah.
And even if yes, they have started doing it, and you don't approve. Obviously, they're doing it, but you don't approve. You are still able to be a guidance voice in the head.
Yeah.
So the more open you are with your child, even now with when I'm observing the kids that I observe, the more open you are with your child. You are saying to them, yeah, this thing is there, it exists, but these are the consequences. This is everything that's out there. This is what you're gonna find. This is what's going on, as opposed to ungayenzi, you know, when it's for real. And that's where I feel we are going wrong
as parents.
Yes, no matter what generation you're in, as long as you have put a fence, and your child must go discover it in varsity, you know, and your kid, and this is why in most cases, abantwana mabafika varsity, they do all these things because of the freedom.
It's like there's this freedom.
Yes, because of that freedom. Like I'm saying, I'm working in a multiracial school. The parents are more open,
compared to
and hence less teen pregnancies there.
Okay.
And where I used to come from in the school Elokshin, the parents are more, you know, that type of thing, and hence then you're getting more teen pregnancies there as well. So there's a lot of things that need to be discussed, that we need to fix, that we need to. But the more open you are with your child, the more you talk to them, the less curious they are.
Okay. Wow. Guys, you've heard it from them, right? They're talking about, as parents, we have to be open with our teenagers, because whether we talk or we don't talk, there's access of information out there. So let it rather be you as a parent talking, guiding, being there for them. And we will talk more about the topic as we come back after the break.